Welcome to Nature Cures with Stacia Alicia, where we explore inspiring stories of natural healing and transformation. I'm your host, Stacia Alicia, and I am so excited to have you here today. Today, we're joined by Aszure, a woman who struggled with eczema, asthma, allergies, and being overweight. She was able to totally transform her health through diet and lifestyle changes. Today, she's here to share her story with us. Let's dive in. Hey, Azure. All right. So, before we get into your healing story, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and where you're from?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm Azure. I am originally from North Carolina, currently living in Arizona. Uh, this is my permanent home state. My husband retired from the military last summer and we moved to Arizona. We love it. The heat is heating, and that's why I'm a little glistening today because I just finished working out.
All right. So, what was life like before your healing journey began?
So before my healing journey began, I was eating everything but thinking I was healthy. So I was, and I say eating everything. In 2009, I went pescatarian, and then I really thought I was healthy because I was only eating seafood. But I was having health issues. But still in my mind, I was like, "But I'm healthy. I'm eating seafood. I move my body. That's it. I don't eat all the other stuff." But I was still eating dairy, and I was having so many health issues: asthma, allergies, eczema, anxiety, oral allergy syndrome. I don't even know. A lot of people haven't even heard of that, but that's where I could, if I would have something with tomatoes cooked or raw, I would have an oral outbreak in my mouth like within 5 minutes. Pineapples, oranges. It was so many fruits and vegetables that I could not consume because of the oral allergy syndrome, but still I thought I was healthy. So that's what my diet life looked like before finding true health.
Take us through how it affected your day-to-day life.
So the asthma, I was taking medication daily. I was taking steroids for my eczema, steroid creams. I was also taking liquid steroids for asthma flare-ups for my lungs. I was taking asthma pumps. Asthma pumps were everywhere, in every purse, in every car, in every kitchen drawer, in every bathroom drawer. They were everywhere because I was afraid to be without them. Um, I was also taking daily asthma medication, Singulair, Zyrtec. I mean, I was, but I still thought I was healthy. That's crazy when I say that now to realize that even going through all that, I really did think I was healthy. So that was one of the things. But the asthma was the worst, and of course, oral allergy syndrome. Sometimes I would think I could eat something, and then I would eat it, and then I would have an outbreak, and it's not something, oral allergy syndrome is not like your regular allergies. It's not something where you take a Benadryl and then the reaction goes away. Like you have a painful outbreak and then your mouth is broken out until, maybe a week. You don't know how long the outbreak is going to last. So I tried very hard to avoid things that I knew would cause me to have an outbreak. I had a hard time avoiding pineapple because I love pineapple so much. But and then my eczema had gotten so bad that when I would wash my hands, they would burn. And so that's when my provider started, he gave me a steroid cream to start using. And it was helping a little, but it wasn't really helping. At that time, we were living in South Korea, and I had a Korean provider, and he told me to cut out dairy. And I was like, "Oh, well, I guess that's not that bad." So I cut out dairy. I did see a great improvement, but at that point, I was eating seafood, but pretty much I was plant-based except for I was still eating seafood, but I wasn't eating any dairy and I wasn't eating any other animals. And that went on for probably a year. Um, but those are some of the things that really were heavy in my life. The asthma, the eczema, and the oral allergy syndrome were affecting my day to day at all times.
What was the moment or the exact experience that made you say that I need to change my lifestyle?
My mom passing away. She was 60 when she passed away in 2016. She had a massive heart attack at the age of 60. That is very young. And I think in our community, we're starting to kind of take for granted how young 60 is because a lot of us are passing earlier than we should be. And then when she passed away, and it's not to say that I thought my mom was healthy, but I thought it was regular, thought it was normal. her life was normal. And so my mom was a diabetic. When she passed away, when we went to clean out, me and my sisters went to clean her room, and we saw like medications that I didn't even know she was on for like heart disease, high cholesterol. It was like we knew she was a diabetic, but we didn't know all the other things that were going on. We just had no idea. And she was 60. So that kind of was like an eye opener, because I was like, man, I do not want to leave this world sooner than I need to or sooner than I have to. And even if I leave at 60, I would want to leave in my best health. So I knew that that was something that was really important to me, is making sure that I got my health to the optimal level, because I didn't want to be riddled with disease, and I didn't want to be riddled with pain. And so that was like really big. And I still didn't start to go vegan then. I just started to think more clearly about health. And then my sister, she's my younger sister, she called me one day and she said that her and her husband had watched What the Health. And then she said, he watched What the Health, girl, and he hasn't eaten animal, he ain't eaten nothing since then. And I was like, I don't know if I should watch that. I have to turn away my seafood. But I decided to watch it. And I think she might have watched it a day or two before me, and then she went vegan. And so she's still vegan now. And then I watched it, and again, it was instant. I was like, all I have to do is get rid of the seafood at this point. That wasn't hard to do. So I say that I went vegan overnight, but I didn't really, because I was already having so many years of eating only the seafood. And then I took out the dairy. So it was still a gradual process. There are people that can do it overnight. I don't think I'm that person. I think if I had been eating everything, I would have had to do it in stages. But I kind of, just how life had flowed for me, it was easy for me to make that transition in what seems like to some people an overnight situation, but it wasn't.
Did you face any resistance, skepticism, or obstacles when you started your journey, whether from family, friends, or even the doctors?
Actually, I would say no. Um, Everybody is on board. Now, the one thing that when I first went vegan, I kind of equated to when somebody finds the Lord and they're like, Bible thumping. I was vegan thumping. I'm like, you need to put that meat down. The meat is killing you. You don't need it. It's going to break you. And so I had to come to the place of recognizing you're not going to help anybody. Now I will still tell people, like, you don't eat that, there's a better choice. There's better choices, especially my intimate family, not people, but my intimate family, meaning my husband and my children. I still am kind of, trying to encourage them, but I do more so encourage them. Like, I'll ask if somebody wants to go to the gym with me, if somebody wants to walk with me, if somebody wants to eat what I'm eating. If I make juice, the family loves, they'll drink the juice. And I cook only vegan foods, but every now and again, I'll cook something that they want outside of a vegan meal. I used to wouldn't even do that. So that was a big thing too. But they eat what I cook. Now they'll cook their own animal products, and then I'll make decides that are vegan, and everybody eats it and everybody loves it. But it wasn't really any resistance. I'm grateful for that. My family is very supportive in that way. If you're doing something that's good for your health and you think it's good for you, they're going to be supportive.
Love that. I love that. I love that. What were the initial steps, like the first step that you took when you began your healing journey?
Not cooking animals for other people. Because I thought that was so important. At that time, I want to say my youngest son, he's 19 now. So he was like 10 or 11. And so I can't feed death to people, because I know what it is. And it makes a big difference. And I was like, I can't consciously continue to give that to my kids. So I would tell them, if you want an animal on your plate, mommy's not going to be the one cooking it for you. So that was the biggest step, I think, is pulling back from preparing the animal meals for my family. Because even though I wasn't eating the poultry and the beef and the pork and all of that, I was still preparing it for my family. And the seafood, all of that. I was still preparing everything. So I pulled back on that because I really felt like I'm feeding my family death, and I don't want to do that. And it was hard. I guess that would be the hard part for the transition of them realizing she really not about to cook us no animals. No, I'm not. So, but I made sure to still make well-rounded meals. And this was before like the Beyond Meats and the Impossible. There was none of that. It was like, I mean, I shouldn't say it wasn't. I was living in Kansas and it wasn't in our area. So so I was making whole food plant-based meals and finding my way around the kitchen in that area because I'm really good in the kitchen. So that made it easier too. But the biggest transition I think initially would have been just telling my family I'm not cooking any animals anymore.
How do you stay consistent?
Number one, the in my mind that I truly want to be here on this earth as long as I can in the healthiest state that I can. And like I said, if I get hit by a car tomorrow, I'm okay with that too, because I know I have been at my best. That's one of the ways to stay consistent is focusing on being healthy and my best self. But also I have just a daily routine of how I go through life. So I think that helps having a routine. I wake up, I say my prayers. I don't even open my eyes before my prayer is done. Then I get up. I normally, get my day started, brushing my teeth, getting my shower, doing some meditation. If I have a work day, I go to work, but I have my juice prepared. Sometimes I'll have a smoothie in the morning. Normally it's a fresh juice or smoothie. And I say but juices and smoothies until noon. If it's juice, normally it's probably about 50 to 60 ounces before noon. If it's a smoothie, it's probably just like a big 32-ounce smoothie, and I'll have that to last me until noon. So liquid until noon. And that's even when I'm not eating fully raw. Right now, I am eating fully raw. And then at noon, I normally will break my fast with I try to always do like a fresh fruit. I love fruit. And if not, then I'll have a big salad to break my fast. So it's either fruit or salad. And then for dinner, it's kind of the same. It'll be kind of reverse. If I had fruit for lunch, then it'll be a salad for dinner. If I had a salad for lunch, it'll be fruit for dinner. If I'm eating cooked vegan, then I'm still going to have a heavily raw plate, meaning I might have a smaller salad and then a portion of quinoa and some sauteed veggies. So it'll still, look similar. It's still the same. It's just that now I'm cooking my veggies in a way that is cleaner than I used to. And then after the sun goes down, this is my thing since I think maybe I started this in October last year. I try my very best to have, if I'm going to have anything else, have it be liquids or either fruit. Yeah.
So that's your typical day-to-day.
Yeah.
How did you know that you were on the right path?
I started noticing the changes instantly. Like the weight was falling off without me having to do anything crazy. I've always loved to walk. I was still just doing my regular walking. And I was, but the weight was falling off. And then I went vegan on August 8th of 2017. And I had my last asthma attack in September of 2017. And I was having asthma attacks regularly. It had become, oh, this is a part of my life. And so that was the most instant thing that I truly noticed, is that I was like, wait a minute. At one point I was like, asthma pumps everywhere, purses, making sure I have them in a glove box, not going to be without one. And then one day I realized, like, I have not reached for that asthma pump in months. And I still was holding on to them because I was like, I don't know. I don't know if this is, I don't know. I don't know if this is real or not. So I was still kind of holding on to them, but I've never used one again since September of 2017. Crazy.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah, that's huge.
What was your weight like, and how much weight did you lose?
So I was 202 or either 204 pounds. I was right around, I don't remember, but I just know it was over the 200s. I'm 5'9". So a lot of times people look at you when you're as tall as I am, and to them 200 pounds doesn't look heavy, And I'm like, I feel it. It feels heavy. It's not okay. And the BMI index, which, I have my questions about that, but I do believe we should be within that because those people that are within that guideline, they are healthier. They do live longer. That's the stats. So I was 202 to 204 pounds overweight. Now I normally fluctuate between 160 and 168, 169. Now I went on a cruise at the top of the year. By the time I came back, I was 175. So I had to, so I had to bring it on down. I was eating vegan, but I was eating a lot.
I note that you said that you lost weight, so you could see that, you were improving, and also you did not use the asthma pump after September 17th. But how long into the journey did you notice those changes?
So I would say with the asthma, I didn't really notice that I wasn't having any issues until like 6 months in. Like it was kind of like
Mm.
I was still even, I was still taking my medicine in the beginning because it was like habit. It was just like I need to take this medicine. I was still taking my pump, like because I was taking my asthma pump as a daily preventative.
Mhm.
It wasn't like, and of course, if I was having an asthma attack, I have to have a breathing treatment, all these different things. I wasn't having any breathing treatments, but then so probably around, I would say when beginning in August, probably around October, I was like not taking my asthma pump anymore. I was like, I don't think I need this. But again, they were nearby. So maybe by October then, but I would say like 6 months down the road is when I was like, no, I really have not used that asthma pump. Or even with my eczema, I was like, I have not had to use the eczema cream. I can wash my hands and they don't burn. I can get in the shower and it doesn't feel like needles. Um, it's amazing to think of how that is so life changing. I will get teared up. It's amazing. That's life changing. Like you, if anybody has experienced that, like it is. Maybe make a change with your diet. Diet is so important, and we don't realize how much control it has over our health if we let it.
Did you experience any detox reactions?
Oh yeah. I was eating heavy fruits and vegetables, which I wasn't used to eating as heavy, or even when I was eating them, they were like high salt, high fat. I was doing everything to make them taste traditional. And so when I stopped with the so much sodium, I noticed detox of the swelling going down. I was in the bathroom constantly. But also in the beginning, my skin, I felt like it was worse with my eczema than it was better. But then all of a sudden it reversed. So I was kind of nervous with the way my skin was looking. It was scaly. And so maybe a few months after going vegan, I just kept with it and been like, I just has to, it's gonna change. Everything else is changing. And it did. And so that was the detox symptoms.
What did you learn about yourself and your body in the process?
That I am more resilient than I thought. My body, it's interesting. That's a good question. Again, I've always been someone that likes to walk, but what I learned is that you can do more than walk. You can actually lift weights. You can actually, you can do sit-ups, you can do push-ups, your body can do all the things. And I had never even thought about doing certain things for exercise that I do now. Also, the elasticity in my skin is really good. I didn't know that about myself. I don't have like saggy skin from losing the 30 some pounds, which I'm grateful for. So those are things that I learned. And I learned that my body was created to heal. It is a self-healing machine. It's like I just didn't know that. I thought, again, growing up and seeing a family history of diabetics and heart disease and different cancers, you just begin to think that is the course of life. And so I realized that that's not the course of life, and it's definitely not my course for life.
What was the most challenging part of your healing journey, and how did you overcome it?
I would say the most challenging part would be probably giving up the seafood.
Uh,
So I didn't really have the cravings for anything when my family would have it in the house. But if my husband, who is from the East Coast, he's from DC and he loves a seafood boil, honey, when he would bring that in, I'm like, this is just not right. You don't have to eat that here. So that was extremely hard. A good fish fry when I go home to North Carolina, my family will always, they're gonna come together, they're gonna bring food. My uncle's gonna cook the fish in the fryer, and I would be like, I'm gonna just have some of this vegan potato salad and one of those, you know. But that was really hard in the beginning because I still enjoyed the smell of it. But now I do not want to smell it. If my husband is doing,
Uh-huh.
he had to buy an outdoor boiler for when he does his crab boils. I was like, baby, don't have this house smell like fish. It's nasty. So so that's interesting that in the beginning I would be like craving it from the smell, and now I'm repulsed by the smell.
I totally understand what you
Yeah.
mean. It's as if your nose is heightened and you can smell the rawness.
Yes,
You said that you lived in Korea for a while, and I know that just like how Africa has their ancient wisdom, Asia has their ancient wisdom as well. Did you learn anything about natural healing or healing modalities from living in Korea?
I did. I did. So I had a car accident in Korea, and I worked at a hospital there. And one of the ladies in the records department, she was Korean, and she was really close. So when I had the car accident, she came and she was like, "Aszure, I want to take you to my healing place." And I was like, "Okay, I'm ready to go." So and this time I was still eating seafood, but I was like, I'm all for healing. Let's go do it. So she took me to this Chinese medicine place in Korea that she goes to for healing. And I did bee sting therapy. I did cupping for the first time. I did acupuncture for the first time. Then she took me to a traditional Korean spa, which was extremely cheap, but it was amazing. But they give you the massages, do the lymphatic massages. It was stuff that, again, I had never experienced. I had, I mean, of course, I had heard of acupuncture. I had never heard of cupping at that time. And I had never heard of bee sting therapy for sure. I was like, well, that sounds crazy. But
What's beef therapy?
so it's like they take the stinging sense from the bee, and it is literally like that. And then it's kind of, it reminds you of acupuncture, and it kind of has like a burn effect. I don't know how to explain it, but they do it for your muscles that are sore, where you have, so from that car accident, I was having a lot of stiffness in my back. And so that's where they did the bee sting therapy at. And it was very helpful. So I mean, I did all the things. I probably went for a couple of months. And then I was like, oh, I'm all better. This is amazing. So they were very much into natural healing. Also, like movement became different there. We would do a lot of hikes there. And I thought it was interesting to see living in a different culture. Me and my husband would go for a hike and we'd make it to the top of the mountain and we're like, whoo, thank God we made it. And we would get up there and they would be like, senior citizen, 70, 75, 80 years old, up at the top of the mountain also, but they're up there exercising. I'm like, so y'all walk all the way up here just to exercise? Like, we're up here like we got to go back down. Is there a list to take us back down? But they would be up there exercising. So that was very interesting, but it taught me that movement, baby, it's important. Because if they're in their 70s and 80s and they, number one, hike to the top of the mountain with no problem, and then they're at the top doing exercise, we're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you also would notice, like, if you would be shopping at the market, a lot of the seniors, they call them ajimas, the older women, they would be in the squat down position, just like um, crushing garlic for hours, just like squatting down. I'm like, baby, I can't squat down that long. Why are you still down there? So it was just like amazing to see how when you move your body, you don't lose that magic of movement.
Wow. I
Mm.
think I need to go to Korea for a little bit.
Nice. It was really nice.
What advice would you give to someone facing similar challenges that you face?
I would definitely say get started. And again, maybe if you have to do it gradually, I think it's okay. I don't think anybody should rush into anything. If you're a person who can, and if you're a person who needs to, meaning if you have some health issues that are gonna like cause you to see the Lord sooner than you need to, you probably need to make an instant change. But however, if you're just trying to get your health in order and see some changes, then start gradually. Start with maybe removing the dairy from your life. Start with removing pork. Start with removing beef, and keep removing things until you realize one day, for what? I'm fully plant based now. So I think it's just starting, taking that first step. Meatless Mondays. Whatever you have to do, but don't just stop at that first step, because I think that's what a lot of people end up doing. when you do the transition period, you do it and you'll be in a transition period for 4 or 5 years. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying make a plan, come up with a plan. And I think you should be done with your transition within 12 months. So if you're not done transitioning in 12 months, I do feel like you need to put some, expedite it. So expedite your transition, because you'll get comfortable in a certain space and you'll be like, oh, I'm good here. So you need to constantly be moving towards your goal.
Are there any misconceptions about healing naturally or about eating plant-based that you'd want to address?
Protein, child, Lord have mercy. Everybody with the protein. These some protein warriors out here. Y'all have seen them. I'm like, I know you don't need that much protein. I know you know that. So they don't know. You do not, everything has protein in it. Every single piece of food that you put in your mouth, fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, beans. And no, just because you're vegan doesn't mean you have to eat a pot of beans a day. It doesn't mean that, because as long as you're eating a well-balanced diet, fruits and veggies, nuts and seeds of all the colors of the rainbow, you're going to get your nutrients in. If you want to see some big muscles, maybe you'll add a vegan protein shake. I don't see anything wrong with that. But the way people act like you have to chase protein, it is not. That is just a myth. It is not that serious. You do not need that much protein. You can go look on the internet and see tons of vegans that are living it and doing it, and they have the biggest muscles. Talk to my men now, because y'all be looking for the biggest muscles. They're out there. They have them. They're plant-based. They're vegan. They've been that way. Tory Washington, for years. He looks amazing. So it's plenty of people out there that can give you the encouragement to the guys and to the girls that are looking to be still having nice muscular cut up muscles. You can do that on a plant-based vegan diet. You just have to, number one, stay in the gym, but also eat a well-balanced diet.
If you could go back and speak to yourself at the start of your healing journey, what would you say to yourself?
I would say, do not try all those mock meats. Leave them alone. What are they for? That was because when I started adding the Beyond Meats and the Impossibles and the Gardein, they taste amazing. I'm here and I don't knock anybody. Do what you have to do for your journey. If you need that to help you transition, go for it. But if I were going back and talking to me, I would have never taken the first bite. Because when I started adding those processed vegan foods to my diet, to my plant-based diet, number one, I wasn't plant-based anymore. Let's be clear. I was eating a junk food vegan diet, because I was like, oh, I can have a burger. I can have fries. I was not thinking about that stuff until I tried the mock meats. And then I was having them 2 or 3 times a week. So those are just as addictive as eating the animal products, and they're processed. It's not a whole food. So pass, Aszure, leave the mock meats alone. You do not need them.
What's one message that you would want the listeners or viewers to leave with when they hear your story?
Your body is meant to heal. You can heal from anything. I'm a firm believer. I don't care if it's cancer. I don't care if it's type 1, type 2 diabetes, whatever it is, you can heal. I don't think, and I don't, I'm a believer. I don't think God gave us a body that can't heal. We have a body that you break a bone, guess what? Your bone can heal. So you think of a broken bone, I mean, that's serious. Can heal. Like anything can heal. We're meant to heal.
I know you spoke of your health issues before, but I want you to paint a clear picture of a before and an after.
So eczema, again, taking a shower, like pins and needles. I'm like, just make this quick and let's get out of here. Now, I might be in the shower for 10, 15 minutes. Like, oh, this is nice. This is where it's hot. I don't feel no pain. This is great. So, asthma, I could not go on long walks. I couldn't hike, but so far, if I'm going on a hike, because, or should I say, especially without my pump, because, the more you elevate, the air gets thin. And I just could not do it. So now I can hike with the freedom of knowing I can still breathe on my own. My lungs are where they're supposed to be. They're clear, they're healthy, they're working like they're supposed to. That's huge. Not being able to breathe, baby, that don't feel good. And oral allergy syndrome, I want y'all to look it up if you don't know what it is, if you've never heard of it. That stopped me from eating so many fruits and vegetables. I couldn't have pizza. Not that I have pizza often now, but I couldn't have spaghetti. I couldn't have anything tomato based. I couldn't. So I'm just to show you the cook side of it. But I also couldn't have tomatoes in a salad. I couldn't have fresh pineapple juice. I couldn't have strawberries, no berries. All of those things were causing me to have outbreaks. Oranges. The list is so long. It would be better for me to tell you what fruits I could have. So I focused on melons then, but now I eat every single thing that I want to eat in the plant-based kingdom. So that to me is amazing. I literally thought at one point, I'm never gonna be able to have a pineapple again. That is the craziest thing. How does that happen? And that didn't start happening to me until I was like 33. At 33 is when I developed oral allergy syndrome. And so first I was like, you can get allergies as an adult? That's crazy. And then from the allergies, I developed asthma around the age of 37. So it was like my body was getting worse and I couldn't understand why. But now it's like the total opposite of those things. I get up in the morning, I move my body for a walk, 2 or 3. Well, this morning we did 3 miles. It's normally 3 or 4 miles. I can jump in the pool and swim and don't have to worry about oh, wait a minute, can I breathe out here? I don't have to have an asthma pump laying beside me. I don't have to, that's one of the biggest things, being dependent on medication for your survival. And the medication is not healing you. It's just holding you over. That's all. It's not healing. There's no healing in taking daily medication. There's no healing. The only daily medication that's going to heal us is the food that we consume.
You said that you were allergic to so many of these fruits. So how
Mm-hmm.
did you end up using fruits to heal yourself,
That's a good
even
question.
though you were allergic?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I had a friend who's a nurse, and she told me she was an allergy specialist nurse. So she told me that a lot of times when patients have allergies to certain things, they start introducing to them in microdoses, right? A little bit at a time. So she told me to start with one fruit, whichever one I want to start with, and having a small amount of it a little bit at a time. Even sometimes, like with the tomatoes, she didn't want me to have it raw. She would say, have it cooked, but just a little bit at a time. If you make spaghetti for your family, just instead of having a whole bowl, have a half a cup of it and the rest of your meal that you would normally have. So I started by microdosing myself on these fruits and veggies. And I would sometimes get an outbreak and sometimes I wouldn't. But the more I did that, my body was starting to self-heal. And I think also my body was already self-healing because I didn't start doing this until I was fully vegan, plant-based. And so my body was pushing out all of the toxins and beginning to receive real food again. And that's crazy to think about. Like I was so used to eating processed food that my body didn't want the real food no more. My body was allergic to real food. That's crazy. Yeah, but that's what it was. Shout out to Kathy. She was telling me, but girl, microdose them fruits and vegetables. You'll get back in the game.
What has become a non-negotiable for you now?
A non-negotiable is daily movement, and a non-negotiable is mock meats. I'm just not doing them. Like if I go to somebody's house and they're having something that I don't eat, if you don't have nothing I can eat, I'm just not gonna eat. My husband loves the movies. We go to the movies. I will take some sliced apples, squeeze some lemon on them, put them in a container, and I'll put them in my purse, and we're going to the movies. I don't need popcorn. I can crunch on these apples. So a non-negotiable is being in a space and allowing that space to control what I consume. So,
Ooh, I like that.
because sometimes you go to the barbecue and you're thinking, oh, they bought the vegan baked beans. That don't mean I gotta eat them because I wouldn't normally eat that at home. So why would I have it just because I'm at the barbecue? So I can take a salad. I can take what I need to eat to the barbecue. So it's things like that. Those are my non-negotiables, making sure that I'm choosing me at every point in the day.
apart from where do you get your protein from, what are the other common questions that you get on this plant-based natural healing journey?
People ask me, was it hard? Is it hard? And I tell them in the beginning, it was definitely challenging. And I think if you try to do it cold turkey, it would be more challenging. Is it hard now? No. Is it challenging? Somewhat, because I'm still trying to improve my diet. So I like the reason I'm doing the high raw vegan, which is so hilarious. I was watching Yaki Awaken. Not sure if you've heard of him, probably, and he was doing an interview with someone, and he was talking about how you need 120 days to really reset yourself. And I was like, I'm gonna do 120 days of raw vegan. And then I looked and I was looking at your channel and I was like, she's doing 120 days of raw vegan.
I didn't even know that. I just because I'm into numbers. Like I like to round things up.
Yes,
So what
me
happened
too.
is my birthday would be the 29th of August. So I said I wanted to finish it the day before. So I just
Yeah,
the 120 days and said, let me do
love it.
120 days.
I love it. So yeah, so I was like, baby, we're in this 120 zone. I like this. So today is day 38 for me. And the longest I'm so excited. The longest I've eaten raw vegan was 62 days. So I'm excited about it. But I don't feel any type of right now, I don't feel the challenging part of it, but I know I've done 30 days so many times. I've done 40 days. So I feel like I will get to the point where it does feel challenging, but I like a challenge. So, but I do tell people when they ask, those are some popular questions like, is it hard? Was it hard to start? Don't you miss, what do you miss? And like, don't you miss chicken? And I'm like, I don't.
How do you stay on track?
So meal prepping and not meal prepping in the sense like I shouldn't even say that word because I don't meal prep. Okay. But meal prepping for me looks like juicing on Sunday. I normally juice for make enough juice for 2 or 3 days. And that way, like at the top of the week when things are busy, I don't have to worry like Monday morning. I know I get up, I grab my juice and I'm out the door for work and then I have my juice and I'm good. And then also that helps me for when I come home, if I just don't have time to get dinner right away, then I'm like, let me grab another juice and I can have that to hold me over while I make a salad or while I whip something up. So I think staying on track it's important to have your things that you can eat nearby or easy access. Also learning where I can grab stuff from. There's a restaurant not far from my job. If I let's just say it's Wednesday and I don't have any more juice left and I'm running late, I'm like, I gotta get something. So we have a small little restaurant called Nectar. They make fresh juices, they make fresh smoothies, everything is fresh fruit. There's no like additives and all that stuff. They make fresh coconut milk. So it's just like that's one of the places I know I can go if I need to grab something because I didn't have time. And I found that and I'm like, okay, great. There's one in my neighborhood and there's also one near my job. So I love that there are some convenient things and I think it's important to find that in your journey that you don't have to stop and grab French fries that probably aren't vegan anyways. But you don't have to stop and grab that. You can grab something healthy. If I'm on a road trip, I've learned to guess what? Normally, when you go to a convenience store, people say they grab for chips and sodas and, they grab the junk food because the convenience store, which is like attached to the gas station, is loaded with all of that. But they also have apples, oranges, bananas, a cup with grapes and melons in it. Every convenience store I've been in has that. So when I see people say, "Oh, I'm on a road trip," and you look in the car, and I'm like, "Your ankles are gonna be swollen because you got a bunch of sodium and sugar. Like, how you gonna? That ain't gonna be right." So I find it preparing. That's what I'm trying to say. You need to be able to be prepared for your day, and that sometimes includes mental preparation. Even for long flights, I'm like, let me pack some snacks. You can take food on the plane. Long as now, if you go out of the country, they might not gonna let you take certain things, but you can grab fruit and veggies.
Can you share with the audience where they can connect with you? and how they can connect with you?
Absolutely. So I'm over on Instagram, Southern Vegan Eats, YouTube, Southern Vegan Eats. I have Facebook, Southern Vegan Eats, and then I also have TikTok, Southern Vegan Eats. Now, let me tell y'all, Instagram and YouTube are the ones I use the most. Facebook, if you're a Facebook person, all of my stuff that I put on Instagram automatically goes over to my Facebook page, but all platforms is Southern Vegan Eats.
And what kind of content do you share for those who may be wondering?
So it's my journey. Now I do share recipes. I share a lot of, like here recently, because it's my journey, that means I'm sharing what I'm doing. So if I'm juicing, I'm sharing juice recipes. If I'm eating raw, I'm sharing pictures of my raw food. If I'm moving my body, I'm doing clips of me moving my body. Um, Now, if you want to look at some cooked vegan food, scroll on down. You'll find it there because I used to share lots of recipes for that. But here recently, when I'm in this new phase of life, most of my recipes is going to be living food.
Oh,
Or as Dr. Iris says, sun fired, you know? So I think that is important to share my journey. I don't try to make it anybody else's. So you come to my page, you're going to see what I do.
all right. So we're going into another segment, the final segment. I'm going to ask you some questions quickly, the rapid fire round. Ask you some questions
Okay.
quickly and you respond as quickly as you can. Roots and remedies. What's one natural cure, remedy, or practice that has transformed your life or that everyone should try?
Ginger shots,
If you could challenge our listeners to try one healing habit for this week, what would it be?
walking, movement.
What's one song or mantra that supported you on your journey?
A mantra is eat to live.
If you could design a starter pack for someone beginning their healing journey, what would you put in it and why?
So I will put a lot of things in there for inflammation because you're probably inflamed. There will be pineapples, there will be ginger, there will be turmeric. Um, there will be a juicer in there. I feel like and there will be a blender in there. I feel like if you have those two things, you can thrive on a vegan or raw vegan diet. But I want you to focus on eating more live foods, even if you're not trying to be raw vegan. I think having a plate full of life is going to help you so much. So I would your vegan starter pack would include a whole bunch of maybe even some seeds for your garden because I love to garden. So maybe some seeds so you can start growing something, but definitely a lot of raw foods and inflammation busting foods.
Apart from the blender and the juicer that you shared, what other tools or
Mm.
resources, so whether that's books or even YouTube channels, would you recommend somebody to watch or read?
Books, Fit for Life. I love it. I've probably read it 2 or 3 times. There's another book, I cannot think of the name of it. It's a book on fasting. I absolutely love it too. Oh, I should have had a stack. I got a stack of. I love reading. YouTube channels that I watch. I like to watch people who are healing. So Stacia is one of those people. We also have Jillian Berry. She does a lot of interviews with people. Yaki Awaken. He's Queen Afua. Those people are high on my radar as far as like watching to see. Oh, Dr. Iris Latham. Like those people are high on my radar. I like following people who have been in the game for a while. I like the newbies too. I see y'all. But I like to see like the wisdom that comes from someone who has been doing this for so long. It makes a difference. Delilah Fitness. It's a probably about a good 5 or 6 that I really focus in on. Karen Calabrese. I can keep the. I'm telling you, I like the wisdom that comes with someone who's been doing it for so long is unmatched. So you're going to get all those tips that you need, and you're going to see them. These people are in their 70s, and they look amazing. They look
Yeah.
and they not only look amazing, so it's not just the visual, they feel amazing. They're moving like
Mhm.
somebody in their 30s. So it's and you're like, what? How are you doing that? That's my bad. I can keep going. So
Yeah.
catch me on the people over 70, and those are the people I love to follow.
All right. So the final question is, what does true healing mean to you?
True healing means freedom. it just, I mean, that's simple. It's freedom. It's freedom in every area of my life. Is true. That's what true healing means. That means I don't have to be bound by my food choices. I don't have to be bound by swollen ankles. I don't have to be bound by my mental state not being clear. So it is. It's like mental health, physical health. It's a whole. It's the whole shebang. It's everything. It's not just food, and it's not just movement. It's taking care of your mind, your body, and your soul.
Thank you so much, Aszure, for coming on the platform, sharing your story, your knowledge, your wisdom with us. We really
Thank you for
appreciate
having me.
love that you were able to share. And I'm sure that there's somebody who is watching or listening who will learn something from what you shared and who can take something, an actionable step based on what you shared. And as I do with every guest that comes on, I just want to pour positivity into you and into your life and wish for you the success, the impact that you desire, and the health, of course, that you
Thank
desire.
you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
If someone you know struggles with eczema, asthma, allergies, or being overweight, then share this episode with them. You never know, this may be the start of their transformation journey. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next episode, take care of yourself and remember, nature cures. Blessed love.